What is up, everybody? Appreciate you for tuning in to On the Ball. Hopefully, you're having a good day. Hopefully, you had a good weekend. We are back with another episode. We are on a Tuesday this week. We're shuffling around as fit, but got a lot we're going to talk about. Have NBA, have some NFL, and obviously, we got some picks to get into. So, if you're tuned in, obviously want you to share your opinions, your thoughts, your questions in the chat. We'll get to them, post them up. We'll talk about it, and we'll just have some fun for a little bit. Well, before we get into that, he's not guarding the two, he's guarding the three. Brett, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I got my sweater on. I'm old and cold, but I'm ready to go.
I mean, look, if you tuned in, you want to just say happy belated birthday to Brett. It was a birthday yesterday, so
Yeah,
that's where the old and cold coming from. You know, send him some love in the chat. But let's go ahead and get into our first topic. The All-Star Game 2026 in LA. So those of you who might not have seen this story, because it did kind of slip through, they are changing the format yet again. And at this point, Adam Silver is trying his best. He's trying to accommodate hey, what's going on? Trying to accommodate what the players want, the best product for fans, all that. So what they're gonna do, they're gonna do USA versus the world. Finally, this is kind of the format that I think a lot of fans have been looking for. I guess the players. There is a twist on it because they are keeping the round robin tournament from last year, which I don't know if that was I don't know if you like that format. I didn't really have a problem with it. So they're keeping that format, but they're working in the USA versus the world, and they're working in 3 teams. It'll be 2 USA teams and then 1 world team. And then what they're going to do is they're basically just going to play 4 quarters with the teams subbing in and out to play each quarter. And then the 4th quarter will be between the 2 best teams from the previous 3 quarters. Will face off in the 4th quarter to determine the winner. I think it's one of those where we'll have to see it in operation. But I guess the main question is, will USA versus the world save the All-Star Game?
the format is just irrelevant at the end of the day, right? People are going to talk about, oh, East and West. Well, we tried that and it sucked. Oh, we tried a lot of different things and they all sucked.
Mm-hmm.
The reality is, it's cool in theory, but it only works if the players care. So could it work? It could.
Right.
I think it sounds like a cool idea, but once it just comes down to if the players care, this will be a lot of fun. If they don't, well, the world's just going to boat race Team USA, and we might as well not even play a 4th quarter. So, I I think it could work. I think this has a lot of potential, but it all comes down to one: the players got to care, and B, focus on basketball. One of my biggest problems last year with the All-Star Game wasn't necessarily the format.
Yeah.
It was Kevin Hart when shut the fuck up ever.
Mm.
So it's one of those things where I get you want to keep the fans entertained, but make sure at the end of the day the event is celebrating basketball and not trying to be something it's not, like last year.
Yeah. I think the problem with last year was with TNT losing the NBA like broadcasting rights. It basically turned into like the last hurrah for TNT, which they tried to play a game around it. And I agree with you. The breaks in the action when they were there were way too long. Obviously, now that's not part of it. Like the package is what it is for the next foreseeable future. So we shouldn't have any of that. At least hopefully. Never know. But I mean, I guess I agree with you. If the players don't buy in, who cares? I also think with that, maybe the fans could be at fault somewhat for that because fans keep voting in the same guys who go and don't really care to play hard. I think if fans started voting in, maybe some of the younger as well as deserving guys to play, maybe we would get better action. I don't know because it's hard for me to look at like a LeBron or somebody who's been to like 20 All-Star games. Like if he doesn't care about it now, why vote him in again next year? He's not going to care next year either. And I get it. Fans want to see who they want to see, but I think some of that kind of factored into this as well. How we got here.
It's one of those things that also absolutely the fans are at fault for, like kind of the downfall of the All-Star game. It's obviously the players, starting to take it, easy and resting during that game is a problem. But also, when you're talking about players, what do the fans really care about? All right, what did they do in the playoffs? How many rings they got? All-Star game's meaningless, right? Not just the fans, but the media as well, kind of just completely demeaned and took away a lot of value of not only the All-Star game, but the regular season. Saying it doesn't matter. All that matters is what happens in April when it's time for the playoffs. What happens, when it's time for the NBA Finals.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a big part of it too. A lot of these players do, like your top-end stars, they do care about their legacy. They want to make sure they're healthy for the games that matter. So I do think while the players do have fault in this, I don't think the fans and, the media can only point at them as being part of the problem as to why things like this don't matter, because them just pushing ring culture, like Jory says, is a big part of the problem why things like this don't matter. Like if we would just celebrate the All-Star game for what it is and the regular season for what it is without having to flash, okay, but how many rings, LOL? Guess what? You would enjoy the sport a lot better, and everything would be a lot better.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, little off topic, but like even with the WNBA All-Star game, a lot of people were critical of it last season, and it's like, well, part of it is the players are supposed to have fun. I think that's the same thing with the NBA. That is part of it. But for fans, they do want the at least illusion that you care about the results of the game, even though it doesn't factor into anything. Just I don't know, I guess for the lore of it, because older fans, whenever they see today's game and they go, oh, look, 190 to 100, whatever, they automatically will strike up the conversation that, well, back in the day, they cared more, the game was more competitive. I think if you want to get away from that conversation, and look, we're not asking the players to, pick up full court and, all this kind of stuff. If the screen comes, act like you want to go over the screen. Like, don't just sit there and like tickle the screen and just let the guy shoot from three. Like, you can go like less than full speed, but at least make it look good. Make it look presentable. That's all people are asking. That's it. Now, if you want to do the little one-on-one battles, I think fans actually like that stuff as well. But it can't just turn into, airport runway where guys are just dunking and everybody's just standing there and looking. So, it is what it is. In the end, it's just an all-star game. But I don't know, players need to understand it is for the fans. So put on a bit of a show. But yeah, so what's up, Jory? What's up, Mo? So there is a little bit more to it. The voting. So I'm just going to give this information. So it is 3 teams. Each team will have, says, a minimum of 8 players. The voting will be fans 50%, current NBA players 25%, media panel 25%. Okay. The All-Stars will be selected without regard to position, so positionless voting, whatever. So if the All-Star voting does not result in the selection of 16 U.S. players and 8 international players, which can include American players with ties to other countries, if necessary. We'll see how that plays out. Adam Silver will select additional All Stars to fill out whichever roster needs a player. So the tournament will go Team A will play Team B, game one, blah, blah, blah. The top two teams by record will face off in game four, which will just be quarter four. They're going to give them like a 12-minute game for each of them. If all three teams have a 1-1 record, the tiebreaker will be point differential. I'm kind of hoping for that for people to lose their mind. So hearing how the voting's going to go, I mean, are you still down with it?
Yeah, I'm down for it. Look, the one thing I'll give Silver some credit for is he keeps trying these new things. He likes to get a little creative, so I'm down to give it a shot. I like the little twist that he throws into the scheduling and All-Star game.
Yeah, I'm here for it as well.
Say it'll be interesting though. I don't see a scenario in which Team World doesn't just roll the Team USA and move on.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I mean, it'll be interesting to see. Well, I think we could probably figure out who the international players would probably be. But
I mean, SGA, Luka, Giannis, Wemby, Jokic.
Right. That'd
probably
be
about
5, and then 3 more would probably be
Wemby. Or I already said Wemby. Let's see.
Trying to think of international players. So that's 5, and then
of course you got guys like Domantas Sabonis.
Mm-hmm.
He might sneak. You say he might sneak on there. I couldn't tell you though.
Right.
Interesting.
But either way, like at least from the starting 5 itself, like that's gonna be tough for any like US 5 to stop. So
got Lauri Markkanen coming off the bench if you want to go that route. He's been killing it this year.
He's been playing really well.
But
if this is what gets, I guess, the American players to be more invested, then fine, go with it. Like you said, Silver's at least trying. I guess final question before we move off. This has to be it for the game, though, right? Like if this does not work for the players, there's not really another option to go to at this point. They have tried literally everything for this game.
Yeah,
I hope the players understand that too.
No, it feels like that. This feels like it's the last shot. It's one of those things where if this doesn't work, then it's unfortunate. But I don't think that I know a lot of people are talking about getting rid of the All-Star game. I don't think that's necessarily what should happen. But I think at the end of the day, you just got to accept the reality that it's just a fun exhibition game, and if you don't have any expectations for it, then you might somewhat enjoy it. I just think that it would be a bad idea to get, like they talked about, potentially getting rid of it. There's still like a lot of, people who only get like one chance to see like their favorite players.
Mm-hmm.
So getting all of these, stars and superstars into the same city and potentially giving fans and, kids a chance to meet their favorite player, I definitely think that should stick around. So even if you maybe take it from the All-Star game and put maybe more like, signatures and photo ops and more fan festivities, I'd be down for that.
Yeah. What's going on? Gamer, should I subscribe? Sure.
Yes.
Why not? I mean, it's not just us. A lot of great shows here on the network. Yeah. So I feel like it. You know what's going to be crazy though? If this doesn't work, the whole conversation is going to be, well, just do the 1v1, contest. Just do that. That's all we want.
I don't think people are ready for that though. Here's the thing about ones. I don't know if a lot of these stars are, ready for it.
Exactly.
Here's the thing. If it's a 1v1 tournament just among the All-Stars, it's fun. Mm-hmm. But a 1v1 tournament, and if you just maybe like threw out a couple of open invitations to anybody who wants to come hoop, that would make it interesting because there's a lot of really good 1v1 players. who would straight up wash some stars or, even all-stars or superstars just because they just are good 1v1 players. So
Yeah.
I would love it. I would love a 1v1 tournament, and I would love it if they just added it so they included some maybe like guys who are considered role players, but who are just one-on-one demons. An example of that would be like back in the day, you had Michael Beasley, who was a role player, but he would probably wash over half the league in ones. Someone like Cam Whitmore, who's not a great 5v5 player, would probably wash over half the league in one. So, like I said, I just hope they throw in little fun names like that.
All right, so Gamer's got a question. Favorite team?
Milwaukee Bucks.
And I am a Celtics fan. Appreciate the question. What's going on, David?
What's going on, David?
Part of me was like, if you even could get to the point where you have like almost like an NBA Jam type thing, where like each team sends 2 or 3 players and you do a tournament that style, I wouldn't hate that. I mean, that would be a lot because you're looking at, 32 teams and probably to get some place where it had like multiple courts and just get real crazy with it. I think fans would lose their mind if it ever got to something like that. But I don't know. I feel like I agree with you. I think the weekend has a place because for as bad as we think the weekend has become, whatever you watch it, kids and fans that are there lose their mind every year. So they love it. They love that access to the players and everything like that. They just have to get the play on the court a little bit more competitive. And hopefully this year that's what happens.
Chicago Bulls fan, but I'm a sucker for the Spurs.
Okay. Nothing wrong with that. All right, let's go. So that was a quick little NBA conversation. NFL, Jamar Chase. This was a potential big game for the Bengals. If they were able to knock off the Steelers, they could stay close in the division with the potential for Burrow to be coming in a couple of weeks. So everything was in front of them. They end up losing to Pittsburgh. I feel like nobody really cares about that. Everybody's been zeroed in on this here. Obviously, I didn't capture the moment where Jamar Chase didn't spit on Joey Porter, as he said. Do we like football? Yep. You could probably guess from our basketball teams. Brett is a Packers fan. I mean, he's wearing the jacket right there. And I am a Patriots fan. So we keep it very simple. But Jamar Chase swears I think his reasoning is if he wanted to spit on him, he would have spit on him. Apparently, Jamar Chase thinks we're blind because we've all seen the angle where he's clearly spitting. I guess for him, he's saying he spit at Porter, not on him. So because of that, it's a little different. I don't know. I don't understand the appeal. Why does he think he's going to win this appeal? But when you saw this, I mean, what did you think?
That's just the funniest explanation of all time. Just, I didn't mean to spit, on him. I spit at him. There's a difference. No, there's not.
Right.
The punishment for doing some things like that.
Yeah.
It's just it's stupid, right? It was stupid when Jalen Carter did it.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole Dak Prescott thing. Granted, Dak spit first, I believe, from that camera angle, so I get why he was upset. But you saw the punishment for spitting on someone. You can't take yourself out of a game like this. This is a team that has a chance to make the playoffs, but every game really matters for Cincinnati. And to do something stupid like this and get yourself suspended, and for what? Why? Like, it doesn't make any sense why he did this. And now he could potentially cost his team another game when they don't have him next week. It's just, maybe the best word for it is it was just a very immature decision by Jamar Chase.
Do you like Drake May? I am absolutely a fan of Drake May.
Drake May's great.
Yeah, yeah, he's playing well. I've definitely enjoyed watching him uh, develop this year. So they did say he's been suspended one game. Are you fine with it being just one game, the same as the Jalen Carter?
I mean, I think that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm okay with one game. It's very similar to the suspension earlier in the year that involves spitting.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, we you just can't do that. Bottom line, if you're Jamar Chase, you got to be smarter. You got to keep your composure, and you got to know my team needs me. I can't afford to miss any games down the stretch. So
Yep.
it's just a mistake that just cannot be made if you're Jamar Chase.
And my joke has been he knew Christian Gonzalez was waiting for him. He was like, I don't want that. I don't want any piece of Christian Gonzalez. He did what he could. Got out of the game. So interesting that the next two comments here. Do you hate the Chiefs? And then we get go Chiefs.
Love it.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say I hate the Chiefs. I can't necessarily say that. But Chiefs are an interesting team this year, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit. But so I guess stick around because we will talk a little Chiefs. I guess Chase doesn't realize that his double negative response. It's, I just don't get the appeal. Like we all know you did it. Just you'll come out and say you messed up, and then just keep it moving. Because I don't understand how you're going to win an appeal when we literally see you doing it.
All they have to do is play the video once and just go, no.
Yeah. It's like, why waste the time?
Like, there's no reason to say, wait, well, okay, if he appeals, that would make him eligible to play in the next game, but get suspended for the game after, most likely, right?
Right. Unless, well, it should be a quick appeal process. So he should be suspended the Patriots game.
The only way that, the only thing I can maybe make it make sense for is if he thinks he can drag it out for like a week, and if he's more confident with the Bengals taking out the Ravens without him than the Patriots. But yeah, no,
I feel like if you're a Bengals fan, you would want him for the Ravens game,
right? Like, I'm just trying to find the logic in him appealing because he's not winning. Like,
right?
You're not reducing it down to less than a game, so. I don't know, man. It's just weird.
Yeah. So Gamer wants to know least favorite team.
Least favorite team, I have an interesting answer. I could just say a division rival like the Bears, Vikings, Lions. My least favorite team is anybody who plays a really bad and ugly brand of football. I don't really have a least favorite team. I have least favorite teams to watch. So, for example, my least favorite team to watch right now might be the Las Vegas Raiders, just because they're that bad to watch. They can't run well, they can't defend well, like they just can't really do much of anything well. So if I had to pick a least favorite team, I'd probably go with Chicago, but I don't really have a least favorite team. I just have teams that I hate watching, and right now the Raiders are at the bottom of my list.
And David agrees. My least favorite team, those New York Jets. I just can't.
Whoa, hey, wait a minute. Nuh-uh. Don't backtrack now. You know it's Baltimore.
I mean,
we know the truth, Kyle. Don't do that.
The Jets hatred is probably a bit deeper than the Ravens one.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, look, whether it was, the Joe Namath glazing, I didn't watch Joe Namath play, but it was just like, I could not stand every Patriots Jets game. They always worked Joe Namath into it. And then, I started looking at numbers and stuff, and I was like, this guy wasn't even that good. Then it was the Rex Ryan days where, they were just so arrogant when they would beat the Patriots, whether it was him, Bart Scott, like I just can't with the Jets. I just hate, I
Oh,
just cannot stand the New York Jets at all. And that's a lot to say because, like you said, the Ravens are up there, the Giants are up there for me, the Colts organization. Like, there's other teams that kind of get on my nerves, but the Jets are number one. Things are just frustrated.
they should be frustrated. They suck.
Yes.
It's
The,
funny
the
the
Jets and Bears loss are going to haunt the Bengals for years.
that's the problem with the Bengals. They don't take care of the teams that they should,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like this happened last year too. They lost all these games in the beginning of the year that they should have won. Then they make their late run, and now it's like, oh well, guess what? You missed it by one game if you would have only taken care of a couple of those early teams. And they're
Mm-hmm.
doing the same thing again this year. Zach Taylor and they need to like just launch the whole coaching staff into the sun and start over next year.
Steelers are my favorite team, least favorite Bengals because they've injured some of our players and we have the most beef with them. That rivalry is pretty, yeah.
I get it. I completely
Carson
understand.
Palmer, yeah.
Vontez Perfect, Antonio Brown situation, yeah.
Max Crosby playing for the wrong team.
So is Myles Garrett.
Jackson Dart, Rookie of the Year. I don't know, but
I feel like the concussion and him sitting early,
yeah,
just kind of knocked him out of that race. I think he's been great. I think he's going to be in the conversation, but when you don't start your first 2 or 3 games, and then you play a couple, and now you're out with a concussion, I just don't think it's going to happen.
Right, especially looking at guys like Ibuka who have really come on. Yeah. Raiders will be rebuilding for many years to come. That comment is interesting because they're rebuilding, but they hired a mid-70-year-old coach who's not going to be around for the rebuilding process. The Raiders are really weird with their decision-making.
I'm okay with them going with Pete Carroll, though. At the end of the day, I think the biggest part of rebuilding is you also have to rebuild the culture and foundation. I think Pete Carroll can do that for him.
That's
he can establish something, and then you can bring on maybe somebody you deem to be your next coach to learn under him to, maintain that momentum. So I actually like the addition of Pete Carroll. I think that works if that's the strategy. Now, if they just straight up just hire him expecting to win, then I don't know what they're doing, But
that's what I'm saying. It's like it seemed like they hired him thinking they were better than they were. Then their first round pick, they go running back, which my mentality is if you're taking a running back that high, you better have everything else kind of set. Because if you bring in a running back and your line isn't good, what good's the running back going to be? If your quarterback isn't good enough, that's not going to take attention away from the star running back. So he's going to struggle because of that. And it's like the Raiders have both those things going on, and they still went with Ashton Genty, which Ashton Genty is like an Al Davis pick through and through. Big name guy, big college season. That's what they would have done. I didn't understand the pick then. You see how his rookie year is playing out. You understand it even less.
I wasn't a fan of the pick, but at the same time, I think the logic also, they didn't realize that Geno Smith's, arm completely fell off between the last season and this season. I thought there was the idea because last year Geno Smith had such a beautiful deep ball and he could, throw it deep very well. I think the idea was Geno Smith's, stretch the field and keep defenses honest and keep the boxes light so Genty can run through them. But yeah, say regression hit Geno Smith hard, and that arm talent that got him through the past couple of years just isn't there anymore for him.
Right. So, we'll see how long it takes for the Raiders, because unfortunately for them, that division's not going to wait around for them. Broncos seem to be hitting a stretch now where they're going to be good. I mean, the Chargers, if they could ever fix their health, they're like the 49ers of the AFC. Like every time you look around, they have multiple key players out. So if they ever get a full healthy season, they're a really good team. I mean, they're still good this year, but they could be better. And then the Chiefs, as you know, it was brought up in the comments. The Chiefs are struggling, but the organization isn't the type that, I guess, however this season finishes, we don't expect them to be kind of stuck in this place for long. Like we expect them to bounce back next year. So the Raiders kind of need to get their stuff together. Otherwise, they're going to be, I guess, chasing the division for probably more than a couple of seasons. Because they just seem like they're just so far behind the other three teams right now.
Yeah, no, they're going to be chasing the division for a while this year.
Yeah.
But I don't even think that the Chiefs. So here's the thing with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
They were elite in the most volatile statistical category last year, one-score games.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in a ton of one-score games, you know how many little things that can go right or wrong that can sway the outcome of that game? Last year, they dominated those games.
Mm-hmm.
You want to take a guess what their record is in those games this year? They played 5.
Only because I believe I've heard the stat a few times. I know that I believe they're winless in those games.
Correct. They are 0-5 in one-score games. So I don't think that there's necessarily anything wrong with the Chiefs per se. I think they're the same team as last year. In fact, a lot of their stats and their process looks even better than last year. I just think the problem is those one-score games that were coming easy to them last year, there's just those little things that are, not going their way this year. So I think that they'll be fine. I think they're fine this year. I think they're still the team to beat in the AFC. It's just, once again,
really? Even at 5-5?
Yeah. I would still, right now, I would still trust them over pretty much any team in the playoff. But at the end of the day, it's hard to trust one-score games.
I mean, we mentioned them, and Chiefs fan pops up. What's going on, Tyler? Trey McBride is better than Travis Kelce. That's embarrassing. Appreciate you, Magic Johnson.
Hey, welcome to the show, guys. Travis Kelce's been on the downswing for a couple of years. Does that surprise anybody that someone like McBride would be better than Kelce?
But isn't the problem that Kelce is still, even with his decline, he's still the go-to guy?
I'm not saying he's not productive. He's still productive. He's just
I'm just saying, isn't that kind of part of the problem that Kelce is still the go-to guy?
Oh yeah,
at this point, Kelce should be a complimentary receiver.
And I think that was a big part of the problem earlier in the year. But I think that's kind of why the offensive stats are starting to look better than even they did last year, because now they're getting Worthy back, they're getting Rice back. If you want to point to a big problem with the Chiefs, they can't run the ball.
Yeah.
The offense is fine, in the air. The thing that the Chiefs really have to figure out is they can't run the ball at all. And it's funny, you say, I don't even think you need an elite running back. I think you just need a solid running back. Pacheco has one speed, and it's just straight 2 to 3 yard plunge, and that's about it. Or he's just going to hit in the backfield before he gets anywhere. So, like I said, I still believe in the Chiefs. I still think that they're the team to beat, but I just think that they got to figure out the run game. But run game a little bit would be my concern with them.
Yeah. I mean, look, like I said, they're 5-5. They're out of the playoffs. And as a Patriots fan, I would not want to see a Kansas City team as a 6-7 seed, lingering down there for, potential, I guess, wild card matchup for the Patriots, or even divisional round or something like that. That would be my biggest thing. Because I agree with you. If they do get in, I feel like they're a team that, because they've been such a solid franchise for this run, they'll turn it up to another level that we haven't seen in the regular season. And that would be my fear. I'm just going to say this. I know you got Chiefs fans in the chat. I am hoping they miss the playoffs completely. so I could feel a little bit better about the Patriots road.
You know what's funny? I think the one team that would probably stand the best chance against the Chiefs would probably be your Patriots. See, the Chiefs have this like superpower of psyching out any coach in the playoffs. Like Lamar Jackson, oh, guess what? He's throwing the ball 40 times. Why?
Yeah.
We're facing the Chiefs. You got to try something different, apparently. So it's one of those things that teams overthink when they play the Chiefs in the playoffs. They try way too hard, almost, which sounds weird. But I think a
teams
big
used to
key
do with the
component.
Patriots.
I think a big key component to beating them is obviously sticking to the game plan. Don't play. Don't try to play their game. Play yours. And I think one guy who wouldn't veer from his game plan, regardless of who he was playing in the playoffs, would be Vrabel. I don't think he would get in his own head and start, trying to play, ways that they didn't play all year, if that makes sense. So I think the Patriots would be a rough matchup for the Chiefs in the first round.
That's fair. I could agree with that. Yeah, because I guess probably teams like, Indy. Well, Pittsburgh's another team that I think would be okay because Tomlin's kind of been there, done that. I think sometimes that's where the Pittsburgh kind of gets in their own way, where they're almost too stubborn and stick to the game plan, even though they know it's not a good matchup for the opponent, but they'll stick with it anyway. So I do think you have to have some flexibility, but I agree that, Vrabel would be the type that could stand toe-to-toe with Andy Reid and not really be phased. I mean, he did it to Belichick.
Yeah, let's say at the end of the day, you got to have flexibility, but you can't completely lose the game plan. And I think that's where a lot of coaches go wrong against the Chiefs in the playoffs.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, let's go. Cleveland. It's been an interesting season for the Cleveland Browns. So far, when we mention certain teams, a fan of theirs jumps in the chat. Let's see what happens with the Cleveland Browns. But
Cottrell, where are you?
It was just that the draft was drama. They take Gabriel, then they take Shador a little bit later. Then, Flacco was the starter, but they went to Gabriel. People were like, why don't you go to Shador? Gabriel gets a couple of wins, but doesn't look great. This past week against the Ravens, Gabriel concussed. Shador gets his big debut. What does he do with it? He goes 4 for 16, QBR of 2, or maybe a little above 2. And now we have Stefanski basically assuring us that Gabriel's going to get through concussion protocol and start next week. But if that doesn't happen, I guess Shador will get his first official start. If you were running the Browns, which I know is crazy to think about with all the issues that they have going on right now, who is starting at quarterback next game?
The answer, if he's healthy, is Dylan Gabriel. And let me explain it like this, right?
Okay.
I think you need to get Shador more reps with the first team before you really thrust him into a start. I think that was very apparent that none of the guys on the first team were on the same page with Shador. And obviously, there's a lot of things that he did wrong that were his fault. That first interception was brutal, but also I think he thought his receiver was going to run an out route, and he just kept going straight up for another 5 yards before turning out. So It's little things like that. I think you need to get him more rep with the first team, and you need to get him on the same page with everybody else before throwing him out there for a start, because if you don't, you're just doing him a disservice. You're going to throw him into a situation like we just saw with Baltimore where he's not ready yet. And I don't want that for Shador. I don't think anybody wants that for Shador. I think we all want to see Shador Sanders succeed, but just throwing him out there with maybe like a week, if let's say he got some reps last week with the first team, maybe like a week's worth of reps with the first team, I don't think that benefits anybody except embarrassing Cleveland, and then Shador goes out there and struggles. So I think the answer is Dylan Gabriel, but I would slowly start ramping up Shador's reps with the first team. And then maybe in like week, 13 or 14, we get the first official Shador start.
Okay. So, follow-up question. Going forward, I guess looking at next year and beyond, you have 3 options. Gabriel as your starter, Shador as your starter, or neither and taking somebody else in the draft next year. Once again, you're running the Browns. What do you do?
So first, I don't think it is the lie, though. Here's the thing. When would Shador have gotten reps with the first team? Because at first he was the 4th string. The 4th string quarterback isn't getting reps. But then they ship Pickett off, so he's a 3rd string. Okay, well, when's the 3rd string rep getting, reps with the first team? And mind you, the only reason Dylan Gabriel was getting reps with the first team is because it was Joe Flacco, who doesn't need a lot of extra reps. So now we ship Flacco out. Now Shador's a 2nd team, but now Dylan Gabriel's a starter who's young, and he needs those reps. So let me counter that with this. How many reps do you think Shador really got with the first team? Because I thought it was clear as day by what we saw on the field and how disoriented everything was. Clearly not a lot.
Yeah, there's clearly some disconnect there.
Like I said, I acknowledge that he probably got some reps in there, but I don't think it was enough to make him the starter quite yet. But who would I keep? See, here's the thing. That's a question to answer after the year, right?
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, I don't know how these guys are going to look. I don't know how they're going to develop. It's one of those things where neither one of them has looked impressive right now. If you were to ask me, it looks like that you might as well just pick the best quarterback possible in the draft. But these are still young kids, and I would, like to see how they've grown and developed over the last, 7 weeks of the season before really answering that whole preseason
daily.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much every day there's a show that is on the network. Now this one, I feel this is what you wanted to answer, and I'll just say that preseason you're getting reps with guys who aren't even on the team. I can't necessarily count that. 11 weeks during the season, like you just mentioned, he wasn't in the picture for most of these weeks. So if he's 4th on your depth chart, you're not going to give him first team reps because that's a waste of time. As he's moved up the depth chart, yeah, sure, but 3rd strings, not a lot of 3rd string quarterbacks around the league are getting first team reps because, once again, no reason for it. Now, if you're a backup, you might get a little bit of time, but it might be 10-15% as compared to the actual starter reps with the first team. So I don't think it's the whole story for his struggles, but it does factor in that, it was basically his first time out there live action with some of these guys. I do think that the whole concussion protocol, I hope Stefanski's going to kind of operate. I'd probably operate this week like Gabriel wasn't going to start, because I also don't want to make it seem like you're trying to push him through concussion protocol because he's been the starter more than Shador. Like if they're going to go through the process as they should, you use this week, you ramp it up with Shador, maybe not fully because it would be his first full week, but the things that he does well, focus on that and then game plan around that for next week. And then after that, you figure it out. So I get your comment here. Pacers stink, which with the Nick logo, I get it. But it definitely was a factor in his performance.
And like I said, I didn't say he didn't get any reps at all. I said I don't think he got enough reps. And I think there's a big difference. You need a certain amount of chemistry if you really want to succeed, obviously, in the regular season at the NFL level. So
he absolutely was. Back when they had Gabriel, Flacco, They even had like Zappy ahead of them. They had
I'll say they had Kenny Pickett for a while, and
Kenny
then they
Pickett.
traded him to the Eagles, like I believe right before the season started.
They even had another guy that they brought into camp late who was ahead of them.
But no, like I said, like
Huntley there for like a couple of weeks.
Say Tyler was there,
and Tyler
like
Huntley was listed ahead of him too.
Like I said, Pacers. At the end of the day, I don't not saying he didn't get any, but I don't think he got enough, and I think it showed on Sunday that he didn't get enough reps with these guys. And there's a lot more work to be done to get each side familiar with each other.
And look, that's part of the reason why he was a 5th round pick. Like if you're taking in the 5th round, that's letting everybody know the guy needs some work. And when he went in the game, what did we see? A guy that needs work. Because there was times holding the ball too long. Can't do that in the NFL. Times when he's trying to scramble out of trouble, he's just scrambling into more trouble. That's stuff he would learn with more reps. So I don't think like we're trying to make an excuse for him. He's just a guy that's not ready for this.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. By the way, I love the back and forth. Shout out to Pacers Stink and everybody in the comments. Thank you guys so much.
That's what we want on here. You guys played Madden? Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see with the Browns kind of how they navigate this for the rest of the year because we know Shedeur has a big following. So for that following, seeing Shedeur out there last week now makes them think he's probably going to be the guy going forward. We would tell them, slow down. Because as bad as Gabriel may look, he's ahead in the process. He's further ahead in the process than Shedeur is right now. So right now, probably for the rest of the year, if Gabriel is healthy, he's probably going to be the starter until he gets replaced because of production. But maybe next year would be Shedeur's shot. I don't know. Gamer, hey, you have a question? Go ahead with it. Moving on. Who do you trust more? So these are 5 division leaders that, based off of preseason thoughts, you would say are probably a surprise right now, 11 weeks in, that they're leading their division. So I'm just going to say, if you want to rank them or just give me the one that you feel like you would trust more for January football between Patriots, Bears, Steelers, Broncos, and the Colts.
All right. So I'll start with the 2 I trust the most. I think the answer to me is I trust the Colts, mainly because once we get into January and the cold weather starts hitting, a guy like Jonathan Taylor and that offensive line will thrive in those conditions.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously the biggest question there is Daniel Jones. Can he keep it up throughout the year? We saw something similar happen to, Sam Darnold last year where he kept it up all the way until week 18. Mm-hmm. I believe he actually had a rough week 17 too. But anyway, he kept it up right up until the end and kind of reverted back to old, Sam Darnold, who, shout out to Sam Darnold, having another great year this year.
Yep.
So the real question is this the real Daniel Jones, or is this going to be a situation where he unravels towards the end? So, but I trust them because I think their team is, I think they just have a really good team. Patriots, I also trust them. I think if I had to pick between them, it is tough, but I think I'd probably trust the Patriots the most because at the end of the day, I think that they just have the run game, they have the defense, they have the great coaching. But I think most importantly, out of this bunch of quarterbacks, I would trust Drake May the most.
Okay.
Say I like Aaron Rodgers, but he's old. He's 41. I don't know if that team in general just has enough gas in the tank to make it past wild card weekend, which history tells us they don't. Caleb and the Bears are interesting, but they're I'll believe it when I see it. Because the Bears also have a history of just kind of unraveling. And Denver will go as far as Bo Nix will take him, which that's been inconsistent. So who do I trust the most? You know what? Give me New England.
Okay. So I feel like the Bears probably are the biggest surprise of the 5. I guess that's what you're saying.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The Bears, to me, the Bears are surprising.
Mm-hmm.
It's just such a tough division in the North. I did predict that they'd be better than expected, but I never expected them to be here.
Yeah, at the top of it this late in the year.
Yeah,
I agree. I would probably trust Patriots more. Oddly enough, the team I might trust second most might actually be Denver, for as confusing as they are. I think because of that defense, and in January, a strong defense can take you a lot of places. And for whatever reason, Bo Nix at times late in games plays his best. So I think the game plan with the Broncos will just be hang around and then hope to win late and kind of do what they've been doing. I would probably trust them a little more than the Colts because in the back of my mind, I keep telling myself, Daniel Jones is still their quarterback. And I just need to see it from Daniel Jones over the last few weeks. But, I mean, they have a good team because Jonathan Taylor, because another thing that happens in January, strong running games can take you far as well. And we all know Jonathan Taylor is the best player on that offense, and he's still producing week after week. That does say something because they do have a strong offensive line. So I do think between those three, those are probably the ones I would trust the most. I'm not a believer in the Steelers because I'm pretty sure in a couple of weeks from now, they probably won't be leading that division. That's just where I am. And Rodgers is dealing with an injury now, so we have to see what that does for their offense, which I don't necessarily like anyway. But if he's now hindered by, I think it's a wrist injury, like that offense can't really afford any slippage because of the wrist injury. Like they're the team that, like, I mean, the Bears have a slim margin of error as well because the division is so strong, but the Steelers really have a slim margin because, like I said, Ravens are now within a game of them. And I don't know, and I don't think the Steelers, if they don't get in from the division, will probably be good enough to be a wild card team. Nix turns into, that's what I'm saying. Like late in the game, Bo Nix turns into a quarterback that you're like, why can't you be this from the first quarter?
I think the problem though is if they don't find consistency, the last 8 minutes in the fourth won't matter.
Yeah,
there's like playing this whole we'll just kind of hang around until we figure it out in the fourth, but you get into the playoffs, and all of a sudden you're facing a team, for example, like Buffalo, like Kansas City, like even if maybe Baltimore makes it that far, you give them 3 quarters to build the lead before you finally decide that we're going to do something. The game's going to be over before we get to the fourth, so it is not going to be like, it's not the fourth I'm worried about. It's the entirety of like the first 3 quarters. Because if they do what they've been doing, first game, wild card weekend, it's just going to be them getting blown out by 2 touchdowns because their offense can't figure out what to do in the first 3 quarters of the game, while elite teams will find a way to at least get into field goal range and put some points on them a couple times.
Yeah. Now, I do think for the Broncos, if they are the number 1 overall seed, going to Denver in January will be tough for some teams to kind of deal with that environment. So they might be a team that probably needs the overall number 1 seed more than anybody.
I agree. I want to be a fan of them. I really do. I just need them to show me something that they can play a complete football game.
So Gamer wants to know, which sport is better, basketball or football?
So obviously this is a personal preference question. I've always been more of a basketball fan. That's always been my thing, but I don't think you can go wrong either way. Literally, my top 2 favorite sports are basketball and football.
Right. I think I'm the other way. I think I'm more of a football fan. But I mean, I watch plenty of sports, but I feel like I got into football sooner than basketball.
It's funny. I got into baseball earlier than anything else, but I fell in love with basketball the hardest.
I did too. I played baseball as a kid. I will not be on the channel tomorrow. Passing the most trustworthy. Their only problem is that Buffalo figures it out. No, I agree. I don't count out Josh Allen. I put Josh Allen in that kind of Baker Mayfield category. Like they'll throw 6 picks, and if they still have an opportunity, they'll go out there and do what they can to win a game. I do think that first game in Buffalo that New England did win, I feel like that's given them a lot of confidence that the second game being in New England, I think they're going to feel like they can get it done and get the sweep over Buffalo. But no, I didn't say he actually threw. I'm just saying like those are guys that they'll throw picks and it won't like really affect them. They will still be good enough to get you a win late in the game. Like those aren't guys that I write off if they're having a bad first half. I think they just have it in them to like rise above that. That's what I was saying. I didn't say like he actually threw 6 picks or anything like that.
No, you get it. At the end of the day, Josh Allen and those guys, their mental fortitude is just impeccable. That interceptions don't rattle them. So no, I get it. I completely agree with that. Josh Allen, he's elite for a reason. He can make plays in the air through his legs, and even if he turns the ball over, doesn't really doesn't affect him.
Was Kincaid out for that game? I got to remember. I feel like Kincaid was there, but he might not have been. Yeah, Kincaid's out now. But, the first game, I think Milano got hurt in that game, and Ed Oliver was out. So that was definitely big in terms of their defense. What's up, Will?
Say what's good, Will?
All right, so we both agree that we trust the Patriots the most, and Bears. I'm so surprised that the Bears are leading the North. Like I probably wouldn't pick them to finish there, but good for Chicago. Seems like they're figuring stuff out. Yeah, Milano got hurt in that game. Yeah, he's a big part of their defense. Let's get into picks. Rough week last week. I went 1-4. Probably my worst week of the season. You went 2-3. Slightly better, but you're closing the gap. It's now just a 3-game lead for me. 23-21-1. You were 20-24-1. Good thing is we have a slate of games to get into to make some more picks. So if you are new to this show, what we do, we pick the primetime games, Thursday, Sunday, Monday. Then we will take a favorite that we like the most to obviously win and cover. And then we'll take an underdog we like the most to cover. That's what we do. So if you're into fantasy football, I'm going to let you know right now, Broncos, Chargers, Commanders, and Dolphins are all on a bye. So make sure you have your lineup set. Think going to win Patriots or the Giants. Well, I guess hold on. We'll see if that's any of our picks. But let me get these picks written down. Here we go. All right. So we'll start Thursday night. Interesting matchup. Yes, they will be on in a little bit here. What's up, Key? So Thursday night football, we have Josh Allen and the Bills to face. It seems like it's going to be Davis Mills once again and the Texans. I think C.J. Stroud has not passed concussion protocol yet. I know it's still at this point he's probably going to be out because it's Tuesday already.
Yeah, I think at this point it's probably
at this point just count on Davis Mills starting again. Bills are a 6-point favorite. How do you see this one going? I mean, is there any reason to think Texans plus 6?
I don't think there's any reason to think the Bills are going to lose this game. Let me start with that. However, this just seems like a trap game where you're going to get Josh Allen randomly throwing a couple picks. So I still think the Bills cover, though. I wouldn't be shocked if the game was a little closer than people think, but I'll take the Bills to cover this one.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bills -6 as well. The Texans defense might be able to keep it a little bit closer. I would just be worried about Davis Mills.
I think that's what's going to hold them back. I think the defense can force a couple of picks on them. Like Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter can get there. I just don't think they'll be able to move the ball.
Great this year. All right, so we're both kind of a must-win for the Bills.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if they want to stay in the race for the division, they have to absolutely get this game.
Say we're at that point in the year where if you have a winnable game on the schedule, it becomes must-win when you're in an absolute dogfight for the division.
Yep. So Bills -6 and Bills. All right. Sunday Night Football. This is true. Like, Davis Mills hasn't been terrible. I just don't know if I like him against Buffalo. But it is in Houston. So maybe that works a little bit in his favor. Like Orchard Park, no. I'm going to need the Texans to start off fast if they're going to, make it interesting. Sunday Night Football, interesting matchup as well. We have the Bucks traveling out to LA to face the Rams. Rams are involved in their own divisional race in the NFC West, which is a really competitive division outside of Arizona. But the Rams are a 6.5-point favorite in this one. Matt Stafford, Devontae Adams, good defense with Jared Verse. And the Bucks are coming off a couple of losses to the Patriots and the Bills, and they probably could use this because, don't look now, Carolina Panthers are a half game behind the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Who thought that was going to happen this late in the year? So who do you have in this one?
Oh, Bucks, Rams. Ooh, give me the Rams. And I'll take them to cover too. I think Stafford has just been playing next level. I'm not betting against him at this point. I'll never count out the Baker-neers. Like, Baker Mayfield is terrific. But I don't know if I can bet against Matthew Stafford right now. He is dealing. I think it's one of those games where the Rams barely cover. Like, they beat him by a touchdown cover. I think it'll be a fun game, but I'll pick the Rams to cover barely.
Okay. I kind of want to go with Pacers on this one. I like the Bucks. They need this. Like I said, Panthers have closed the gap and are putting pressure on the Bucks to win this. I think the past couple of games, they looked really good for about 3 quarters against Buffalo, and then Buffalo just pulled away. Patriots game was also highly contested until late. But I kind of agree with you. In LA, I just you know what? I'm gonna take the Bucks plus 6.5. I'm gonna do it.
Feels like that this is going to be a huge game too for the Rams, but I feel like that this is going to be a huge game for the Matthew Stafford MVP case. It'll be an interesting watch.
Yeah, absolutely did. That was the game I made sure to watch, and it didn't, didn't disappoint. Monday night. Speaking of those Panthers, I'm kind of glad they're getting some primetime love here. They go to San Francisco or Santa Clara to face off against the Niners, who, it's interesting, Sunday night and Monday night, you get the same divisions playing each other. The Niners are a 7-point favorite, but like I said, the Panthers are coming off of a win over the Falcons where Bryce Young threw for, what did he throw for, like 450 plus, dealing with an ankle injury. So they're riding a little momentum into this one. How do you see this one going?
You know what? I'll take the Panthers to cover this one.
Okay.
I think, you're getting the return of, I believe, is it this week that Purdy returns, or did he play this past week?
He played this past week.
He did play this past week.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, yeah, you got Purdy back. That was a nice boost. So I'll take the Panthers, though. I think this will be a fun back and forth game.
All right. So you got the Panthers +7. Bit of a large line, but I don't know. The Panthers, I'm kind of glad they're doing this right now. They're actually kind of fun to watch. Yes, I agree with this. Like, Carolina has not been a bad team, which is why whenever they talk about Patriots and they're like, oh, look who they've beaten. It's like they did kind of smack Carolina around, and Carolina has not been an easy out for a lot of teams, but neither here nor there. So you got Panthers +7.
Rams kicker, I believe he's close. I believe his longest on the year is like 58, but I believe it's Cardi, and I believe his longest is 58.
There was more earlier because I remember one week we did picks, and I think there was 6 teams on a bye.
Yeah, I did it normally like week 8. They dub it Bye-Mageddon, like week 7 and 8, where they just get the brunt of the teams on these bye weeks.
Yeah.
Brutal week for fantasy football those weeks.
They were, because there were a couple of good teams on a bye. There are a couple of good teams on a bye this week, but I will go. You know what? I'll take the Niners to win by a touchdown. Even though, like I said, I'm rooting for the Panthers to do well, but I don't know. I don't know if I like this matchup, especially in primetime.
Hey, shout out to Little, man. He is electric. I love him. I always love a good kicker.
San Fran did look really good against, well, I was going to say it is Arizona, but Arizona looked good against the Cowboys. Like, it's been an interesting year from week to week. Yeah, CMC looked good running the ball. Yeah. All right. So those are the primetime games. Now, who's your favorite that you like the most to cover, well, obviously, and win?
Ooh, this is a tough one. Okay. You know what? To cover and win, I'll take the Lions. This is like the perfect game for them. Get dropped like a 50 piece. Like, I think the Lions are just going to absolutely blow the Giants out.
Okay. Lions -10.5. Where do I want to go? I will go with. I just realized the Saints are the favorite this week. I hope it's not a typo from me, but that is kind of funny. I mean, they hate. I mean, clearly Vegas is not a believer in Kirk Cousins, but I can't go with that one. I will go with the. You know what? I'm gonna ride with my team. Give me the Patriots 8.5 against the Bengals. No Jamar Chase, no Joe Burrow. Patriots can actually play defense. Bengals can't. So I'll go with that one. All right. I feel like the pick we love the most. Who's the underdog we love this week?
Oh, I just double checked it real quick. It is not a typo. The Saints are actually the favorite this week to beat the Falcons.
Will go put down.
Go put down money. Say my upset to cover the spread. This one's always the funnest, right? Mm-hmm. To me, this is where you go big or go home. Let's see. Who would be the team to cover? I feel like the cop-out answer is just the Falcons, so I'm not going to do that. You know what? I'll take the Colts to cover the spread against the Chiefs. Okay. I think that they can do the one thing you really need to do against this Chiefs team. They can keep Patrick Mahomes off the field. And they can keep it into a grinded out, low-scoring game. A couple of years ago, maybe the Chiefs had the run game and aligned, be in a game like that. But I think if the Colts turn this into a grinded out, game, I think the Chiefs struggle to win that one as long as they contain the air raid offense. I think I'm going to go Colts cover and beat the Chiefs.
Okay. So by the time we talk next week, you have the Chiefs at 5-6. Okay. But I agree with you. If the Chiefs can't stop Jonathan Taylor, they don't have a shot in that one. For me, I will go with some fun ones up here. Colts or Browns if Shedeur gets his. So I don't care if Gabriel makes it through concussion or not. Shedeur should get more first team reps because you have to play it out that Gabriel may not be available. And he's already had one concussion. You kind of have to have in the back of your mind, he could get another one. Obviously, you don't hope for that, but you got to kind of play it that way. Look, I would love to say Jets plus 13.5. I'd love to. But I just witnessed that Jets offense, and there's not a chance they do that. Oh, the Ravens haven't looked great either, so if the Jets cover that, I would laugh, but I'm not gonna pick that one. You know what? I'm gonna go kind of crazy here. I'm gonna go Cardinals plus 2.5. Don't know why. Don't have really any logical reason behind it. I'm not completely sold on the Jags, and this would be a Jags thing to do. They come off that big win against the Chargers and kind of lay an egg against the Cardinals. That would be the Jags thing to do. So I'm going to take a shot and take the Cards plus 2.5.
I think that's a fine pick. Considering the Jaguars can't do the simple things like catch a football, I think that's a fine pick.
Yeah.
How bad they are at catching footballs is alarming.
Yeah. And at least it's in Arizona, so that's where I'm going to go with it.
Yeah.
Sanders just needs to get better, and Dylan same, but needs needs more confidence. I agree. Sanders just has to get better.
I think the Chiefs' path to the playoffs starts next week. I'll pick them to lose against the Colts, but I think they start heating up. I think after that, I think they make the playoffs by pretty much just running the table after that.
Right. So, I mean, you have them as a wild card team. Yeah, I feel like the division's pretty much out of hand. And look, they're a wild card team that if you're like the Colts, you have this great year, and they're like, oh, guess what? Chiefs are coming to town wild card weekend. I think if you're the Colts, you'd be worried about that.
No, absolutely.
And if they're going on the run, like you said, winning out, going into the playoffs, like, yeah, they would be a scary wild card team.
Do you want to play a quick fun game of predict their record with the Chiefs and the rest of their schedule?
Let's do it.
All right. Obviously, the Colts. So let's just say they lose this week against the Colts. They're 5-6.
Okay.
They get the Cowboys the week after that. Do you think they beat the Cowboys?
Yes.
I think so too. So
6-6.
There's 6-6. Texans the week after.
Yes, Chase is suspended for a game.
Yeah. I think they beat the Texans.
Yeah, give them a win, 7-6.
Okay. This is a tough one. Chargers. They already lost to them once this year.
I feel like they're destined to split, so I'll probably go 8-6.
Yeah, I would pick them too. I think they'll find the rhythm and take that one. All right, Titans.
Unfortunately, yeah, that's probably a win.
All right. Now this is an interesting one. The Denver Broncos. If the Broncos have the division locked up, there's a real chance that we're going to see Denver sit a lot of their starters.
I think based on the way they play offense, I don't think they should sit. Maybe on defense, they could sit some guys, but
I
don't know. If that's a game like the Chiefs absolutely have to get in, Sean Payton's the type who's going to try to keep the Chiefs out. But if it's a game you have to have, I'll say Mahomes finds a way. and
All
get
right,
some,
and then their last game's against the Raiders.
which they'll be a complete mess by then. So yeah, they
Yeah,
definitely
so
run the table.
I think you look down the schedule and you really only look at the Chargers and the
And
Broncos as
potentially that
potential
second
problems.
Broncos game as the
As
two
long as
toughest.
they handle the business in the rest of those games and at least take one of those two games,
They're a
I
10-win team.
think you're looking at a wild card team.
Yeah, you get 10 wins, you're getting in.
Patrick Mahomes, the GOAT. Kyle, defend your guy. Come on, defend Tom Brady here.
Hey, it's Tom Brady for me all day, every day. But I respect your opinion.
Watch them lose to the Titans. If they lose to the Titans, they don't deserve to get in at that point.
But it's been that kind of year. And the Chiefs have been so up and down that who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, but I would love to say the Titans would go up and down, but they've just been down.
But late in the year, crazy things happen.
So, although now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, you know what? I think Jory's right. That is the game they probably lose.
Because it's just been that kind of year with the Chiefs. Like they'll win games up until that, and you're like, oh, look out for the Chiefs, and they'll have that one slip up, and you're like, oh, and then they'll probably right after that win again.
You know what? Actually, you know what makes that game even more fun to think about them losing? It is perfectly wedged in between the Chargers and the Broncos. It is the literal definition of a trap game.
Yep.
So that would be the most. I guess it's possible. Now I'm thinking about it, like it's possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like I said, it has been that kind of year. I think the Chiefs will beat the Cowboys on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't trust that Cowboys defense. I think the Cowboys offense can keep up with the Chiefs offense, but I absolutely trust Spags and the Chiefs defense to get a couple stops that they need to win that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I mean, that's all we had for you. Appreciate all of you tuning in. Saw a lot of new people in the chat, so definitely appreciate all of you. Make sure you give us a like, follow, subscribe to Wire to Wire. Check out all the other content on here. We start off our day coffee and sports in the morning. So if you guys need some sports while you're getting your day started, 9 a.m. Eastern, tune back into the channel. The panel will get you ready for your day. Tomorrow night, also have Wire to Wire show as well tomorrow night. So check in for that. But Brett, let them know what they can look forward to here in a little bit.
Yeah, you can catch me on the Meaty Boys podcast with me and my guy Mo Betta. We like to talk some professional wrestling. We'll be talking some The Last Time Is Now tournament, John Cena. Be talking War Games, Blood and Guts. It's going to be a lot of fun. And look, if you like hoops, catch Mo Betta and I Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Central, to talk basketball. We talk current and historical hoops. It's a great time.
Yeah. I will be back on here Thursday, Sideline to Sideline, which is our NFL show. Get you ready for Thursday Night Football. And then I'm back on here Friday night with Jory and Key, Passion and Precision. Make sure you all tune in for that as well. We have a lot of fun on that show, as well as Sideline to Sideline. So, like I said, every night, got something going on. Check out the channel. Okay, so since you're a Knicks fan, I'm going to start this off. I'm a Celtics fan. I'm sure that's going to cause a reaction here. And Brett is?
I'd say Wisconsin born and raised, so I'm a Bucks fan.
There you go.
Remember, I've been a Bucks fan ever since, the first draft pick I remember us getting was actually Yi. It was Yi Jianglian. And then, it all snowballed from there. A lot of really bad to mediocre basketball before Giannis finally emerged.
Okay, there we go.
Salute, in the words of the great Darvin Ham.
Yeah. But yeah, so like I said, make sure you tune in next week for another edition of On the Ball for myself. Brett, not guarding the 2, he's guarding the 3. Like I said, make sure you're back here for Meaty Boys, wrestling fans. tune in. They'll get you caught up on all the action. So until then, we are out of here. Appreciate all of you. Enjoy the rest of your night and the rest of your week. We will see you next week. All right. Bye.